بكت عيني بكت عيني بكت عيني على ذنبي وما لاقيت من كربي فيا ذلي ويا خجلي إذا ما قال لي ربي أما استحييته تعطيني ولا تخشى من العتب.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. We begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Him, the Almighty, the Lord of all worlds, the Exalted, the Majestic, to send His choicest of blessings and salutations upon the final messenger, beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, his family members, his companions, and all those who tread upon his path with utmost sincerity until the day of Qiyamah. My dear respected elders and brothers in Islam, I start off by reminding myself and then all of you all gathered here to bring in a life of taqwa, and that is to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you do so, during every single second of your lives, you will attain victory and success in this world as well as the hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all from the people of taqwa, and may He make us from the victorious and successful ones. Ameen. So, for today's sermon, in the few minutes that I have with you all, I want to touch on a concept, and obviously in the few minutes that I have with you all, I won't be able to go into the entirety of the concept, but it's interesting, and I hope this will serve as a stepping stone for you to further your research, for you to read into it more and apply it in your life, inshallah. You can read up on this concept known as the law of attraction. The law of attraction. So what is the law of attraction all about? There are books about it. Life coaches talk about it. And before I get into it, it's important to put things into context. Today all of us, as the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we all have needs, we all have wants, we are all going through trials, challenges, tests in life. So we've been blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a very powerful connection, a divine link where we can raise our hands and connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this link is known as dua. But before I get into it, a little bit about the law of attraction. So the law of attraction, it talks about focusing on what you want in life, what you want to achieve in life, the goal, the objective. It focuses on not using negative statements in your life. It focuses on this very central teaching titled Ask, Believe and Receive, which is so strongly connected to dua if dua is applied the right way. So the law of attraction talks about you asking the universe. You ask the universe what you want, believe in it and you shall receive it. That's basically what they say. But you and I as believers, we don't ask the universe. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we firmly believe in it, and we will receive it inshallah. So once this is ingrained, and now that I've established this, you might be wondering, but I've been making so much of dua. I always raise my hands after every prayer, after every Jummah, at different junctures, but my du'as are not being answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, the people who are applying this quote-unquote law of attraction are seeing results, powerful results in their lives. And who are they asking? They're asking the universe, they're believing and they're receiving. So how come we believers, we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the owner of the universe, the creator of the universe, the Lord of the universe, and how come we're not getting a response? There seems to be perhaps certain defects, certain errors. You see, when you want to run a program, you execute the code. And if there are bugs in the code, it won't run. Why? Because there are bugs, you need to debug it. So similarly, perhaps in our dua, we've got bugs. Or we're not following the right protocol. We're not following the guidelines that are in place. So very swiftly, I want to touch on a few guidelines. Number one, my dear brothers in Islam, always remember to introduce your dua in the right way. Now this was taught to us by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Introducing your dua in an appropriate way. So how do you introduce your dua, and how did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam teach us to do so? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he teaches us to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then to send salawat, send blessings and salutations upon the Prophet, and then you make your request. So in other words, your dua, it needs to start off with praising Allah, then you have salawat, then your dua, then you conclude with the salawat. This is the perfect sandwich, if you will, in terms of your dua. Look at the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ tells us, when any one of you makes dua, let him start off by glorifying his Lord and praising him, then let him send blessings upon the Prophet ﷺ, then let him pray for whatever he wants. Ali radiallahu anhu is reported to have said, every dua is blocked until salawat is sent upon the Prophet ﷺ. So it's almost like you've sent a cryptic message, and the message now needs to be deciphered, and for that you have to send it with the salawat. So a lot of us, we tend to make dua, but we don't follow this guideline. You start off by praising Allah. Today when writing a letter, we follow etiquette. We follow, there are so many, if you're addressing a certain person, you need to address him a certain way, address her a certain way, and only then the letter will go. If you're sending an email, there is a protocol, you need to type in the email address appropriately. Even if one digit, one letter is missing, you get a delivery failure email back to your account. So when you have all these protocols in place for worldly things, how can you expect to be careless with your dua? No. You have to follow the right guidelines taught to us by the Prophet, and your dua will reach, and you will receive the response, inshallah. So introduce your dua appropriately. Number 2, be decisive in your request. Don't be wish-washy. A lot of us are wish-washy. Ya Allah, if you want, you give me. No, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, none of you should say, oh Allah, forgive me if you wish. Oh Allah, have mercy upon me if you wish. No, rather be assertive in your request, for nothing can force Allah. So if you want something from Allah, be decisive in your request. Say, Ya Allah, I want this. Be firm in your request. You need to be determined in your request. Number 3, ask persistently. Don't give up. Don't give up. You need to keep asking persistently. And with these 2 guidelines, I want to touch on something very important. And this, you may have not heard of it anywhere else. Wallahu alam, I don't know, maybe you may have. But I want to teach you something very important with regards to these 2 guidelines. When making dua, a lot of us, we make vague dua. We make abstract dua. I hope you're getting where I'm coming from. When we make dua, it's very vague. You need to be as detailed as possible in your dua. You know this concept of the law of attraction? You know what they teach? They teach this theory of visualization. When you want something in your life, you need to visualize it. You need to visualize actually having that thing with you. You know, I don't want to make it seem materialistic, but that's I would say the best way to give you an example. Obviously our du'as need to be at a higher level and at a lower level, but I'm just going to use a materialistic possession to illustrate, alright? So just say you want a car in your life. Now obviously, like I said, there are so many more other important things to be making du'a for, but nonetheless, let's say you want a car and you're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not something that you would turn away from Allah, you're asking Allah azza wa jalla. Now this car, don't be vague. Don't be vague with it. Don't be like, Ya Allah, I want a car. You're waking up for tahajjud. You say, Ya Allah, I want a car. No. Be as descriptive as possible. In your head, once you start going car shopping, you obviously have a brand in your head, right? You have a color in your head. You have the make in your head. Visualize the car. Let's say you want a Toyota. Let's say you want a BMW. Let's say you want this color car. You want an SUV. You want a hatchback. You want a sedan. Whatever it may be. Go into as much details as possible and actually picture the car. Picture you taking ownership of the car. And then make dua. And be persistent. Be decisive. So much to the extent, my dear brothers in Islam, the law of attraction, they talk about it in such a way that if you want to buy a house, take a picture of that house, put it somewhere where you can see it every day. And every day when you look at it, you need to start visualizing that this thing is coming into your life. If you want good health, you need to visualize as such. If you want wealth, you need to visualize as such. And when you tie it with dua, and I'm telling you this with personal experience, my dear brothers in Islam, everything, alhamdulillah, walillah alhamd, whatever it may be, Allah will eventually give it to you. And you know what? The best part, the very exact same thing. Let's say it's a red car in your head, you will get that red car from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you need to ask, you need to believe, and you will receive inshallah. Most of the time our du'as are wish-washy. We are very abstract in the dua. Let's say you're typing an email or a letter requesting something, in a very abstract way you ask something. I want this. Are you going to get it? You need to be very descriptive. If you are descriptive, and if you believe firmly that Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of all worlds, the master of them all, the exalted, the majestic, it is nothing for him to give it to you. Believe firmly that he will give it to you. You will receive it inshallah ta'ala. This is the power of dua. So when you raise your hand, and especially, you need to seize opportunities. You know, just like we see seasons and sales. There are teachings of the Prophet. When it rains, your dua is answered. On Friday, there is a special hour, your dua is answered. Some scholars say it is the time from when the Imam stands on the pulpit until he gets down. Very short window. Some others say it is the time when the Imam sits. Now, you know I will sit in a few minutes. Those few seconds, that's the window. Some others say that it is the last hour on a Friday. That's close to Salatul Maghrib, 1 hour before Maghrib. What are we doing during that hour? Most of the time we are busy. We have forgotten that there is such a special window. Fridays is a powerful day. When it rains, your du'as are answered. Perhaps you are in front of the Kaaba. Most of us, we're not prepared. Let's say you're getting an opportunity to meet a very powerful person. Let's say you're going to meet the president of a country, or a very powerful person, and you are supposed to be making a request. Would you go and stand there tongue-tied? Because you know you're not going to get that opportunity again. You're getting 5 minutes with this powerful man, and you need to put forth the request. You will practice, you will write it down, you will ensure that you have all of the words in place to put forth the request. Here you are going to the palace of the king of them all, in front of the Kaaba, and we're not prepared with our dua. Subhanallah. It's such a powerful time, and your dua is going to be answered. So we're not prepared with our dua. We don't even know what to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I want to conclude now, because obviously I'm running out of time. If you run into such a situation where you're tongue-tied, at the very least, my dear brothers in Islam, make this one dua that the Prophet taught us. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَنَا. This is a powerful dua. I can dedicate a few sermons just for this dua itself, because it's such a balanced dua. You're asking for the best in this world, the best in al-akhirah, and protection from the fire of Jahannam. Subhanallah. A good life here, a good life in the hereafter. And when we say good, every form of goodness. Good health, good wealth, good social status, good family, good everything. And a good life in the hereafter. Good life in the hereafter, and protection from the fire of Jahannam. So if it rains and you're pressured, you can't make a lengthy detailed dua, then at least Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhabannar. During Fridays, whenever you remember, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhabannar. Such a short dua, but so powerful. And if you ask it in the appropriate way, you are a winner in this world as well as the hereafter. With that I conclude this reminder. I sincerely pray, I ask dua. Oh Allah, we praise you, Ya Allah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We send blessings and salutations upon your messenger. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. And now we pray, oh Allah, forgive us of our sins. Oh Allah, accept our good deeds. Oh Allah, we don't know how to make dua. Help us and teach us how to make dua. Oh Allah, improve the economic situation of our country. Oh Allah, resolve the forex issues that we are facing. Oh Allah, boost our economy. Oh Allah, bring in solid revenue to this country. Oh Allah, likewise, open doors of abundance for all of us. Improve all of our economies. Improve all of our sources of income. You are the owner of absolute wealth. And it is nothing for you to open up your coffers for us. Oh Allah, open it up for us. And help us to use that wealth in a positive and good manner. Help us to uplift others. Help us to spend it in very beautiful and productive ways. Help us to establish beautiful charitable initiatives. Help us to help those who have not been blessed. Ya Allah. Ya Allah, and just as how you united us all here in this beautiful masjid, unite us in your beautiful, prosperous and abundant and lofty garden of Jannah. in the companionship of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Ameen, ameen, wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.